Sometimes the fastest way to make them come back is to stop waiting for them to. That one hits hard, doesn't it, my friends? Because deep down, we all wish there was a shortcut, a secret switch to flip inside someone's mind that makes them suddenly realize what they lost. But here's the truth. The moment you stop chasing that realization in them, life starts awakening it in you. And that's where everything begins to change. Before we dive in, do me a quick favor. Press that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and stay with me till the end. Because what I'm about to share with you is something most people never figure out until it's too late. This isn't about tricks or manipulation. It's about understanding energy, attraction, and why silence, real silence, can make someone feel your absence louder than any words ever could. Hey folks, imagine this for a second. You're standing in a field at night, shouting someone's name across the wind. You keep calling louder and louder, hoping they'll turn around. But the wind carries your voice away, and they keep walking. So you stop shouting. You sit down, breathe, and let the silence settle. And for the first time, they hear the stillness you left behind. That's how energy works. The moment you stop chasing noise, your presence begins to echo. People think getting someone back is about saying the right thing, sending the perfect text, proving your worth, but it's not. You can't convince someone to value you. You can only show them what life feels like when you're no longer available. As Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In other words, stop performing, stop explaining, stop trying to be understood by those who are committed to misunderstanding your worth. Because here's the lie we've all been fed, that love is earned through effort, that if you just try harder, they'll see your value. No, my friends, the truth is, attraction doesn't grow where effort begs. It grows where energy rests. When you calm your spirit, when you stop proving and start living, something shifts. The same silence they once ignored becomes the mirror that reflects their own emptiness. You see, people don't come back because you reminded them enough times. They come back when your energy reminds them of what peace used to feel like. When they realize that no one else listens like you did, no one else laughs like you did, no one else carries calm in chaos like you did. You don't chase, you simply return to being that calm. That's how the comeback starts. And yes, I know, silence is uncomfortable. It feels like losing control. It feels like standing on a cliff, waiting for an echo that might never return. But remember this, a lion doesn't roar for validation. It roars because it can. Power doesn't beg to be noticed, it's felt. That's what Stoicism teaches us, that the less you react, the more magnetic you become. So from now on, stop trying to prove your worth to people who walked away from it. Rebuild yourself. Smile again. Work out. Read travel. Become unpredictable. Let your silence become your strength and your peace become your message. Because the real secret to making them come back is realizing you no longer need them to. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike the one who hurt you." So keep your head high, your energy grounded, and your focus on growth. The moment you rise above, they'll feel the shift. They'll sense what they can't name, and that's when the comeback begins. Write this down in the comments right now. I choose peace over pain. Let the world see it. Show them. Show yourself. And show everyone watching that your silence isn't weakness, it's transformation. Now hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet, and stay with me, because what comes next will open your eyes even more. Number 1, stop trying to convince them. What persuades the heart is never words, it's energy. That single line could save you months of heartbreak, my friends. Because when they walked away, your first instinct was probably to explain yourself, to reach out, talk it through, Show them your side. Make them understand that what you had was real. But here's the truth. The more you try to convince them, the more invisible you become. Why? Because persuasion doesn't create attraction. Peace does. Words don't rebuild respect. Distance does. Imagine this. You're standing in a river, trying to catch the reflection of your face in the water. The more you splash, the blurrier it gets. But when you stand still, the reflection becomes clear again. That's how attraction works. Every time you chase, you disturb the water. You blur the image they once admired. But when you stop moving, when you calm your energy, the reflection sharpens, and that's when they start to remember. I know what you might be thinking. But if I don't say anything, won't they forget me? Won't they think I don't care? That's the fear that traps so many people. It's the lie your emotions whisper when your heart feels abandoned. You think silence means loss. You think distance means defeat. But the truth is, your silence is the stage where their conscience begins its performance. They can't miss what's still begging to be noticed. They can only miss what has disappeared completely. Let that sink in. You can't remind someone of your worth while standing in front of them, proving it. The moment you stop trying to convince them, the energy shifts. Suddenly they feel what they thought they'd never lose, your presence. The late-night texts that used to come instantly. Stop. The emotional support they relied on. Gone. The attention they took for granted. Silent. And that silence starts echoing louder than any paragraph you could have sent. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be." Be one. That's the move. Stop arguing your value. Embody it. When they walked away, you didn't lose your worth. You just stopped being seen by eyes too blind to notice it. Don't waste your voice explaining light to someone who's grown comfortable in shadows. Stand still. Shine anyway. You see, what makes this part so difficult is that your brain is wired to fix things. It hates uncertainty. It wants closure, resolution, answers. It tells you, if I could just explain it better, maybe they'll understand. But attraction doesn't live in logic. It lives in emotional experience. And once you understand that, everything changes. Because you realize you don't need to say the right thing to make them come back. You need to become the right energy that pulls them back naturally. Let me tell you something real. When you try to convince someone to love you, it's like knocking on a locked door that leads nowhere. You stand there, bleeding your heart out, hoping they'll open up. But when you turn around, you realize the house was empty the whole time. Convincing is the language of fear. Detachment is the language of power. When they sense that you're done explaining, when they feel your stillness instead of your struggle, that's when something flips in their mind. Suddenly they wonder, wait, did I misjudge them? Have they moved on? Why are they not chasing anymore? And that's when curiosity replaces certainty, because the human mind craves what it can't predict. Your silence becomes the unsolved mystery that pulls their thoughts back to you over and over again. It's ironic, isn't it? You spend weeks trying to get them to listen, and the moment you go quiet, they start hearing you everywhere. In the songs they play, in the empty bed at night, in the conversations where your name no longer comes up, but your energy still lingers. That's not coincidence, that's consequence, because when someone leaves a calm soul, thinking they can come back whenever they please, the shock isn't in your anger, it's in your absence. Seneca once wrote, "He who is brave is free." And this is your moment to be brave, to stop explaining yourself and start expanding yourself. Stop replaying the past and start recreating your energy. Go to the gym, redefine your routine, dress better, walk slower, speak less, smile more. Let your improvement become the answer to every question they never asked. Because when you start rising in silence, your glow speaks a language only their regret understands. Now, does it hurt? Of course. Silence always hurts in the beginning. It's the detox from emotional addiction. You'll want to reach out, to check their stories, to break the tension. But remember, they're not waiting for your words, they're testing your silence. They're watching if the same person who once begged can now breathe without them. And when you do, something unexplainable happens. Your absence starts to haunt them more than your presence ever could. Because here's the beautiful paradox. When you stop needing closure, they start needing connection. When you stop trying to make them understand, they start trying to figure you out. When you stop proving your worth, they start remembering it. That's the moment the scales begin to tip. And that's the first step in making them come back. Not by force, not by strategy, but by self-mastery. So from this point forward, no more convincing, no more, maybe if I just say this one last thing. You've said enough. Now let your silence say the rest. You're not trying to change their mind anymore. You're changing your energy. You're stepping back into alignment with your worth. You're reminding life and yourself that you were never meant to beg to be chosen. You were meant to choose yourself first. Write this down in the comments right now. My silence speaks louder than my pain. Let the world see it. Show them. Show yourself. Show everyone watching that your quiet is not weakness. It's your weapon. And stay with me, my friends, because what comes next will show you how this silence, this energy shift, starts pulling them back faster than you could ever imagine. Number 2, detachment is not disinterest. The moment you stop needing them, they start needing your energy again. That quote sounds simple, but it's the core truth most people never grasp, my friends. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. It's not about pretending to be cold or heartless. It's about regaining control over your own emotional temperature. You see, there's a big difference between not feeling and not feeding what drains you. Detachment is strength, not numbness. It's emotional discipline in a world that confuses desperation for devotion. Imagine this: a magnet loses its pull when it's pressed too close. Only when it's pulled back does attraction return. That's how energy between two people works. When you're all over them, checking their stories, waiting for a text, wondering what they're thinking, you collapse your own magnetic field. You become noise instead of gravity. But when you step back, when you focus on your own orbit again, your energy stabilizes. And suddenly, they feel that pull. They start to sense the space, and the silence begins to echo louder than any message you could send. But here's what makes this tricky: your fear. The fear that detachment will make them forget you. The fear that if you stop caring out loud, they'll think you never cared at all. That's the emotional trap. You think your value depends on how much you show up, how much you sacrifice, how loudly you love. But love isn't proven through panic. It's proven through presence. The calm kind that doesn't need constant reassurance. Epictetus once said, "We suffer not from events, but from our judgment about them." When they pull away, you assume it means rejection. But sometimes it's just life giving you space to rediscover yourself. The truth is, detachment isn't the death of connection. It's the oxygen it needs to breathe again. You can't light a fire by smothering it. You have to give it air. And I get it. Letting go is terrifying, because you've built so much of your peace around their attention. When they stop giving it, you feel like your world collapses. But the world isn't collapsing. It's just shifting. It's forcing you to find stability within yourself instead of within someone else's moods. That's what Stoicism is about. Not feeling nothing, but feeling everything without losing control. Picture this: a storm passes over the ocean. The waves rage, the wind screams, but deep beneath the surface, the water remains still. That's detachment. The storm above doesn't define the ocean below. You can feel emotion, pain, sadness, confusion, but you don't let it dictate your behavior. You stop reacting to their silence with panic. You stop interpreting their distance as disaster. You learn to sit in stillness, and that's when your strength becomes unshakable. See, most people think detachment means indifference, but the truth is, the detached person feels deeper. They just don't drown in their feelings. They don't hand over control of their peace. They learn to experience emotion without letting it enslave them. And that's why detached people become so magnetic. Because while everyone else is chasing validation, they radiate calm. They're not begging to be seen. They're busy becoming worth noticing. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's the essence of detachment. You can't control if they text back, but you can control whether their silence ruins your day. You can't force them to love you again, but you can choose to love yourself harder than ever before. You can't change their perception, but you can elevate your reality. And something powerful happens when you do. They start to feel it. They can't explain it, but the energy shifts. The same person who once felt your need now feels your peace, and peace is addictive. Suddenly they wonder, why aren't they chasing me anymore? Have they moved on? Who are they becoming without me? And that curiosity, that quiet unease, is the first spark of their return. But you're not doing this for them anymore. You're doing it for you. Detachment is how you stop living reactively and start living intentionally. It's how you take your power back from their actions, their moods, their choices. Because the truth is, when you master detachment, you stop chasing closure and life starts delivering clarity. You stop looking backward and destiny starts opening doors you couldn't see before. So let go. Stop refreshing their feed. Stop rewriting that text you'll never send. Instead, rewrite yourself. Your peace is your new message. Your calm is your comeback. Detachment doesn't say, "I don't care." It says, "I care, but I also respect my peace too much to beg." Write this in the comments right now. My peace is power. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world that you don't need to chase what's meant for you, because what's truly yours will always feel your calm before it sees your name. Stay with me, my friends, because in the next part we'll uncover how this invisible shift in your energy, the one you can't see but they can feel, begins to pull them back like gravity. Number 3. The energy shift they feel before they see it. Your silence speaks in frequencies they can't ignore. My friends, that line isn't poetry, it's physics. Every word you say, every thought you think, every emotion you feel carries a vibration. People feel it even when they can't explain it. And when you go quiet, when you stop begging for attention, stop explaining yourself, stop chasing, something in your frequency changes. You move from noise to signal, from chaos to calm, from being just another presence in their life, to becoming a peace they can't find anywhere else. Imagine this. You walk into a room after an argument and no one's talking, but you can feel the tension. You can feel that energy before a single word is said. That's exactly how it works in relationships too. When you finally detach, when you stop overreacting, when you stop trying to prove your worth, they feel it. Even if you haven't said a word, your silence becomes a mirror that reflects everything they've done wrong. At first, they won't understand it. They'll assume you're playing games, trying to get their attention. They'll think they'll text eventually. They always do, but days pass, then weeks, and suddenly that silence stops being a strategy and starts becoming a statement. Because this time, it's not a performance, it's peace. It's not manipulation, it's mastery. It's wild how fast energy shifts once you stop leaking it into the wrong places. You begin to glow differently. Your presence, even online, feels lighter, more focused. People start noticing, and yes, They notice too. Maybe they don't say it out loud, but they feel it. The same way you can sense when someone is thinking of you, they can sense when your attention has moved away. That's the magnetic field of detachment. You're no longer holding them in your emotional gravity, and the absence of that pull wakes them up. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." And it's true. You spend so much time imagining they've forgotten you, when in truth, they're probably wondering where your energy went. People don't always miss you because you're gone. They miss the feeling they used to get from you. And when you pull that energy back, when your light is no longer directed at them, they start to feel a kind of darkness they can't quite name. You've probably heard people say, "Energy doesn't lie." That's not just a quote, it's psychology. We are emotional creatures first, logical ones second. When your energy changes, your absence becomes louder than your presence ever was. You could be in the same city, in the same social circle, even posting the same pictures, but something about you feels different. Your vibe no longer says, "I need you." It says, "I see you, but I'm good without you." And that energy hits harder than any speech. The beauty of this shift is that you don't have to force it. You don't have to announce it. You just stop feeding what drains you and start investing in what builds you. You start going to bed earlier, eating better, moving your body, learning new things, smiling more. It's like tuning your frequency higher, and the moment you do, everyone vibrating lower falls out of sync, including them, and they feel that disconnection in ways they can't put into words. Picture a tuning fork. When one vibrates, another nearby begins to resonate at the same frequency. That's how human connection works too. When you're emotional, reactive, begging for attention, they vibrate on that same low level of chaos. But when you go calm, when you rise above, when your energy becomes still, they start to feel that peace pulling at them. They start to crave the steadiness you found. You become the stillness in a world full of noise. The tricky part is not breaking the silence when you start to feel their curiosity, because it will come. They'll start liking old posts, sending little "hey" messages, testing your energy again. Don't fall for it. This is where most people lose their power. The moment they sense you're still emotionally hooked, the balance resets. You've got to stay calm, stay grounded, stay unreadable. Your stillness is your leverage. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." And when your thoughts change, when you stop replaying the past and start painting a better future, everything about your energy changes color too. You radiate differently. You look healthier. Your eyes glow again. That's not luck. That's the invisible reward of self-control. So, the next time you feel tempted to reach out, remember this. Energy doesn't chase, it attracts. The more you hold your ground, the more magnetic you become. They might not understand why they can't stop thinking about you, but you will. It's not about revenge. It's not about ego. It's about vibration. And you've finally raised yours high enough that they can feel it even from a distance. Write this in the comments right now. My energy speaks before I do. Let it be your reminder. Show them, show yourself, show the world that silence isn't emptiness, it's transformation. And stay with me, my friends, because next, we'll talk about how rebuilding your value in silence makes you not just unforgettable, but irreplaceable. Number 4, rebuilding self-value in silence. The man who masters solitude becomes impossible to replace. That line, my friends, is not just philosophy, it's the blueprint for getting your power back, because after someone leaves, your first instinct is to fill the silence, to talk to someone else, to scroll endlessly, to do anything that distracts you from the ache inside. But the truth is, silence isn't your enemy. It's your forge. It's where the new version of you is built. The problem is, most people are too afraid to stay in it long enough to transform. Imagine a blacksmith's workshop. The room is dark, hot, filled with sparks. Every time the hammer strikes the iron, it screams, it bends, it glows red from the pain. But that's what makes it stronger. That's what gives it shape. That's what turns a shapeless piece of metal into a weapon, or into art. That's you right now. You're in that forge. The heat you feel isn't punishment, it's purification. The pain you feel is proof that you're being reshaped into something sharper, something steadier, something stronger. When they left, they took something with them, your sense of worth, your peace, maybe your identity. And now you're here, in the quiet aftermath, wondering if you'll ever feel like yourself again. But what if this isn't the end? What if this silence isn't the graveyard of who you were, but the birthplace of who you're becoming? Marcus Aurelius once said, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul." That's what rebuilding looks like. It's not about revenge. It's not about showing them you're better off. It's about rediscovering the peace that was always yours, the kind that doesn't depend on who stays or leaves. You see, silence gives you something that chaos never could: clarity. You start to notice the lies you believed, the ones that told you your worth depended on being chosen, the ones that said you needed their validation to feel complete. But here's the truth. Your value didn't decrease when they left. It was simply hidden beneath all the noise. Now, in this quiet, you get to meet yourself again. Not the version that was desperate to please, not the version that overgave, but the version that knows peace is power. And yes, it will be hard at first, because silence will test you. It'll make you want to break the stillness just to feel something. You'll think, if I just reach out once, maybe I'll feel better. But that's not healing, that's craving. You don't need their reply, you need your own reflection. Every moment you stay silent, every moment you resist reaching back, you're strengthening your emotional muscle. You're teaching your nervous system that peace doesn't depend on a ping or a message. You're teaching your heart to breathe again, without permission. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." That's exactly what this silence is doing. It's building mental resilience. It's showing you how to stand tall without external reassurance. You're not just surviving their absence, you're evolving through it. You're learning to feed yourself with purpose instead of pity. So rebuild quietly, hit the gym, read books that stretch your mind, dress like you've already leveled up, start journaling, start meditating, start doing things that make you feel grounded again. When people see you months from now, they won't even recognize the calm in your eyes, because healing changes your face, strength changes your energy. You'll stop needing to post about how good you're doing. They'll just feel it when they see you. And here's the best part. While they expect you to crumble, you rise. While they expect you to break, you bloom. While they move on thinking they've won, you quietly rebuild your empire from the ground up. And one day, without saying a word, your peace becomes the loudest statement of all. Because when you rebuild in silence, you're not proving anything to them. You're proving something to yourself. You're proving that your value was never dependent on their opinion, that your worth didn't need to be recognized. It just needed to be remembered. So don't rush it. Don't try to win the breakup. Let them wonder. Let time do the talking. Because the day they see you again, calm, confident, untouchable, they'll feel something they can't quite explain. They'll feel the presence of someone who no longer needs them. And that's when the power truly flips. Write this in the comments right now. I'm rebuilding in silence. Let it be your declaration. Show them, show yourself, show the world that you're not waiting for validation. You're building transformation. Stay with me, my friends, because next we'll uncover how your quiet growth becomes their loudest reminder. The mirror that makes them see what they lost. Number 5. The mirror effect, when they start noticing the change. You don't chase people. You elevate and watch who can no longer reach you. That, my friends, is the turning point. Because after all the silence, after all the rebuilding, something subtle begins to happen. They start to feel it. The same person who once seemed indifferent begins to glance back. The same person who walked away so confidently suddenly looks uncertain. They can't explain it, but they feel something has changed. And that something is you. You see, people always feel energy before they notice transformation. At first, they sense distance, but it's not cold, it's calm. They sense confidence, but it's not arrogance, it's self-respect. They sense your silence, but this time it doesn't feel like weakness. It feels like power. That's the mirror effect. When you heal, your energy becomes the mirror that reflects back to them everything they lost, everything they ignored, and everything they didn't value when they had it. Imagine walking into a room where you once had control. Everything used to move at your rhythm. People laughed at your jokes. You knew the space. And then one day you walk in and something's off. The energy's different. You're not the center anymore. That's how they feel when they cross paths with the new you, whether it's in person or through silence. They can sense that you've reclaimed your own orbit. You're no longer circling them. You've become your own center of gravity. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one." You've done that. You stopped explaining. You stopped chasing. You stopped begging to be seen. You went quiet, worked on yourself, healed your emotional wounds, and now, without saying a word, your very presence challenges them. You've become a mirror reflecting their own inconsistency, and mirrors are uncomfortable for people who aren't proud of what they see. At first, they'll deny it. They'll tell themselves they haven't changed that much. They'll scroll through your pictures, read your captions, check your stories, trying to find traces of the person who used to need them. But that version is gone. You've evolved. And evolution always unsettles those who stayed the same. Here's the psychology behind it. Humans have something called mirror neurons. It means we subconsciously reflect the energy of the people we interact with. When you were anxious, they felt powerful. When you were calm, they started to feel uncertain. Now that you're detached, they feel that void, and their mind doesn't like it. It starts searching for what's missing, and guess who's at the center of that search? You. But here's where most people make the mistake. When they start to notice that shift, the likes, the subtle messages, the "hey stranger" texts, they break their silence. They rush in with excitement thinking, "It's working. They miss me." But what they don't realize is this. The mirror effect loses power the moment you try to explain it. You must remain still. Let the reflection speak for itself. Because your new energy isn't a performance, it's a presence. You're not pretending to be fine. You are fine. You're not acting mysterious to get their attention. You've simply become too peaceful to participate in chaos. That difference is magnetic. It's what makes them start replaying old moments, wondering, did I underestimate them? Did I throw away something real? Seneca said, "He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior." And that's what you've done. You've mastered your emotions. You no longer react. You no longer flinch at their silence. You've become unshakable. And nothing draws attention faster than peace in a world addicted to noise. But understand this. When they start noticing the change, it's not always love that brings them back. Sometimes it's ego. Sometimes it's curiosity. Sometimes it's the discomfort of realizing they're no longer relevant in your story. That's why you must stay grounded. Your worth doesn't increase when they finally notice it. It was always there. You just finally stopped giving discounts. And when you stay steady, something deeper begins to unfold. The same silence that once made them feel powerful now makes them feel powerless. The same distance that once felt like freedom now feels like regret. Your absence becomes their mirror, showing them what life looks like without your light in it. And it's in that reflection, in that quiet recognition, that they start to understand. They didn't lose you because you weren't enough. They lost you because they stopped showing up as someone who deserved your energy. So keep glowing quietly. Keep walking forward. Don't announce your growth. Let them feel it. Don't post your peace. Embody it. The mirror doesn't need to speak. It just needs to shine. And sooner or later, they'll have to face what's staring back at them. A version of you that no longer needs validation, no longer seeks closure, no longer bends to be understood. Write this in the comments right now. I've become the mirror. Let it be your reminder. Show them, show yourself. Show the world that you no longer chase to be seen. You rise to be remembered. Stay with me, my friends. Because next, we'll dive into what happens when that reflection finally hits them, when the realization turns into regret and the universe begins its quiet revenge. Number 6. The return phase. Why they come back when you least expect it. People don't miss you when you're gone. They miss you when you've changed. That quote cuts deep, my friends, because it exposes one of the biggest illusions about breakups. They don't come back because of absence. They come back because of contrast. When you were there, they took your energy for granted. When you left, they thought they could replace it. But when you changed, when you stopped chasing, stopped reacting, stopped feeding their ego, the entire dynamic flipped. Suddenly, the power they thought they had dissolved. And that's when the return begins. You see, the comeback never happens when you're waiting for it. It happens when you've stopped caring. That's the part they never expect. They assumed you'd always be available, that you'd always answer, that you'd always be there if they decided to reach out. But when you don't, when your silence becomes your new language, it forces them to confront a truth they never wanted to face. You were the stability all along. Imagine a house built on a hill. They thought they could leave and find another view, but now that they've walked away, every other landscape feels empty. The lights in your house are still on, but the doors are closed, and that image burns in their mind. They start remembering things they used to overlook. The way you listened, the calm in your tone, the way your presence made chaos feel safe. And suddenly, what once felt normal starts to feel rare. At first, they fight it. Their ego tells them, "It's fine, I'm over it." They distract themselves, they post online, they act unbothered. But deep down, something starts tugging. Not because you texted, not because you begged, but because your energy, the one they thought they'd always have access to, has disappeared. And when energy disappears, the mind begins to obsess. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." That's exactly what happens here. You stop mirroring their immaturity and start embodying peace. You stop playing emotional chess and start mastering silence. You move differently, and they can feel it. They don't know what changed, but they know they lost control. This is where the paradox begins. Your stillness becomes their chaos. Your peace becomes their problem. The more you let go, the more they hold on in secret. The same person who told you they needed space now scrolls your page at 2 a.m., replaying old memories, wondering why your energy feels so different. They'll tell themselves it's curiosity, but it's not. It's emotional gravity. You've become the calm they can't find anywhere else. Here's the irony. When you were chasing, they felt safe running. But the moment you stop, the ground beneath them shifts. Your silence becomes a void, a psychological vacuum, and nature hates a vacuum. That's why they come back. Not because they suddenly see your worth, but because your absence created space they can't fill. They start to realize that the connection wasn't about constant talking, it was about presence. Your presence was the anchor, and now they're drifting. But the most powerful part? You're not even waiting anymore. That's what shocks them the most. You've grown. You've moved differently. You're no longer trying to prove anything. You've accepted that what's meant for you doesn't require begging, chasing, or convincing. You radiate a calm confidence that says, if it's meant for me, it will find me again. And if not, I'll still be fine. That energy terrifies them because it means they no longer control the narrative. Seneca said, "The greatest blessings of mankind are within us and within our reach." And that's what you've realized. You've stopped reaching outward and started reaching inward. You've found peace in your own presence, and that's what makes you magnetic. People can't resist peace because it exposes their own unrest. So when they finally come back, and trust me, they often do, they won't recognize you. They'll expect the old version, the one who over-explained, over-gave, over-feared. But instead, they'll meet the version who smiles, nods, and keeps walking. The version who no longer needs closure because peace became their closure. The version who knows that sometimes the real victory isn't making them return. It's realizing you no longer want them to. Because the truth is, their return isn't your reward. Your transformation is. Their regret is just the echo of your healing. They're coming back to the energy they once neglected, but now it's guarded, sacred, calm, and untouchable. You've become the one thing they can't recreate, genuine peace. So don't chase their comeback. Let it happen naturally, or not at all. Because the moment you stop waiting for their knock, that's when you've truly moved on. Write this in the comments right now. I no longer chase, I attract. Show them, show yourself. Show the world that your peace is the new magnet and your silence is the message they'll never forget. Stay with me, my friends, because next we'll uncover how to handle that moment, the text, the call, the hey that shows up out of nowhere, and how to respond like the calm, grounded force they never saw coming. Number 7, how to respond when they reach out. Never return as the same version they left. That, my friends, is the golden rule. Because when they finally reach out, and they will, your reaction will reveal whether you've truly healed or just been waiting. They'll send that text, that little hey or how have you been, pretending it's casual, but it's not. It's a test. They're not just reaching for you. They're reaching for the old version of you, the one who used to react instantly, the one who used to melt at their attention, the one who made it too easy to walk back in. But this time, you're different. You don't rush to reply. You don't pour your heart out. You don't punish them either. You do what Stoics do. You stay calm, measured, and unshaken. You respond with kindness, not attachment. Because power isn't in ignoring them, and it isn't in chasing them. It's in mastering the middle, that quiet space where your peace is louder than your emotions. Imagine standing in a hallway with 2 doors, one marked past, the other peace. Most people go back through the first door because it feels familiar, but you've come too far to go backward. You choose the second door. You choose peace. You smile, you answer if you want to, but you don't hand them your heart again, because forgiveness doesn't mean access. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." And that's exactly what this moment is about. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to explain how much you've changed. They'll feel it, in your tone, in your stillness, in the way you no longer chase closure, because you became it. So when that message comes, breathe. You're not the same person who used to panic over every word. You've evolved into someone who doesn't beg for attention. You command respect with silence and intention. Write this in the comments right now. I respond with peace. Let the world see it. Show them. Show yourself. Show everyone that your calm is not weakness. It's your crown. And if this journey has opened your eyes, do me a favor. Press that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet, and share this message with someone who needs to hear it. Because your silence, your growth, and your peace. That's the story that deserves to be seen.